Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. Obviously, today we're going to be doing a demonstration of Office Tools, and we're going to talk about how that can help you create a digital firm. Whether it's going paperless, getting rid of spreadsheets and other processes, Office Tools provides a practice management solution that can really bring everything into one place. So we're going to talk about it today. We don't have a lot of time. This webinar is just 30 minutes long. Again, this is going to be a kind of a quick primer demonstration, so to speak. But we are going to talk a lot about the values of Office Tools, how it can change your firm, obviously its features and functions, and I'm going to try to leave 5 minutes or so at the very end for any questions that anybody has. If you'd like more one-on-one time and have an actual personalized demonstration, I'll give you some info at the end to follow up on that. And again, that can be helpful because sometimes your needs may be a little different than what we present today, and Office Tools can be a lot of things to a lot of different firms. So we'd really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you one-on-one about it and see how it can fit in your office. That being said, my name is Philip Ferris. I'm actually the Director of Education for Abacus Next, which is the parent company of Office Tools. And I've been working with accounting firms and CPAs and accounting professionals for years. I've been in a lot of offices personally. I've seen the struggles, the strifes, and the bottlenecks, and I've also seen how Office Tools can solve those problems, create new solutions that otherwise just were never really an option. And I've seen offices grow through that process. Now, when it comes to practice management software, there's a lot of things that I think get missed in translation. And what I mean by that is some people assume that practice management software is a glorified billing system or workflow, or maybe it's a CRM with some tracking tools. But the reality is that a good practice management software takes a lot of what we do and connects those to one another. It bridges gaps between our processes. So when we bring a new client on board, for example, we want to make sure that the system that we're scheduling events through is there. That can lead towards obviously a paperless workflow, getting the right people involved in the work, tracking all of those details, right? Who's doing it? What are they doing? How do they know that they have something to do and that maybe they're even in threat of being late on it? So we start taking a lot of pieces and bringing those into a single application, and the benefit is greater than the sum of its parts. When you have a workflow solution that is also your contact management application, which is also your time and billing program, and then you start wrapping everything else into it like document management, task tracking, workflow, and all of these other items, you get a very, very powerful solution that just wraps everything up into one nice, neat picture. And we all know there's nothing more frustrating than trying to look for information, trying to find out something, and you can't. You don't know the person who has the information. You don't know where the information is. You might not have access to the program to see the information, and it goes on and on. But bringing it all into one place with Office Tools gives you that power, that control, and that access. It also gives you an output. You can now take the combined information you have, the billing data, your workflow data, for example, and you can combine those and you can see, okay, so how is our workflow affecting our billing? What changes can we make to improve this or to reduce that? And then that, again, as we start to come full circle, that now gives us a better picture of our services, our processes, how we do things, and we can communicate that to future prospects or current clients and offer even better services and better value. And this kind of paints the whole picture about what good practice management software does. It brings all of these different aspects of what we do every day into one nice, consistent, concise application, and then builds on those connections, those internal integrations. And you know what? Practice management is not a side layer anymore. A decade ago, it was something some offices used now and then, as we're now easily more than half use an actual dedicated practice management software, and others have their own version of it, a combination of things perhaps that they've kind of made themselves. So practice management is very important. It cuts down on a lot of meetings. It helps you delegate, helps you report, right? And it really becomes that hub in your office, ensuring that you don't miss things. right? I mean, if you're writing down, things on a whiteboard in the break room, and that's how you're tracking deadlines, there's a lot of room for error there, and that's not a good system. And as far as your teams go and how they use it, again, we're enabling them. We're giving them access to information that otherwise they'd have to get up from their desk, walk across the room or down the hall, dig through a file or a cabinet or somebody else's desks to find. So we're freeing them up for all of those things, which is going to improve services. It's going to reduce errors, and we're going to be more productive. We can get more done in the same amount of time because we have access to all the things that we need in one place. And that's really kind of the moral of the story, right? We all have systems. There's things that we have to do. We have to schedule appointments. We have to bill clients. We have to track our work. We can't be late on it. And then there's all the things that kind of float around that. And it can become very, very convoluted very quickly. So I'm actually going to pause this. I'm sorry, I went one place too far here. And we're going to jump right into OfficeTools. Okay. We're going to dig into its features, its functions, kind of what it does. Again, in the time frame that we have here, this is not going to be super, super in depth, but I want to paint a picture about how what I just talked about and what I just spoke about can be realized within OfficeTools. All right. So one thing that OfficeTools provides that you really won't see in any other practice management application is a single screen interface. And the reason that this is so important and honestly so cool is because you don't have to leave what you're seeing on the screen right now. There's not a lot of nested windows where you have to, go 5, windows in and then exit out of those or complete those to get back to the original thing. And it's all in one place, and it makes it very quick to access information. And that being said, the screen is actually really broken into 3 main areas. So over on the far left here, you have the contact list. This is all your contacts. They're clients, obviously. We're going to have prospects in here. Potentially, we can have vendors and colleagues, business partners. The list goes on. And this is the beginning of the full CRM functionality, where we have contact groups, and we can create form letters and email blast and bulk letter creation, and the list goes on. But this is the starting point. This is the first piece of how you navigate OfficeTools. And from this list, I can then select a contact. In this example, I'll just use ABC Company. And then I can navigate to any one of these 9 tabs across the top of the screen to then see information for that contact. And that represents the navigational, the 2 points of navigation. So I can go to ABC Company on the far left, click on the Contact tab, and then obviously see the contact information for ABC Company. If I then bounce over to Projects, I can see the work that we're doing for this client. I'm still on ABC Company. It's that quick. I can bounce over to Billing and see the current billing scenario with this client, send them a document real quick through Document Management, and then jump over to Phone Calls and create a phone call reminder to let them know, that we have a meeting. And all that is done by simply just clicking the tab at the top and entering the information into the appropriate screen. So that far left column of contacts and the tabs across the top of the screen represent the work. That's the data. That's the information. That's how we track everything. The third part is actually on the bottom of the screen down here. And you'll see these items down on the bottom of the list. And this represents all of the tasks that I have set up for myself. I can see that I'm preparing a return. I need to do a little bit of research on another return. I got to call a client about missing information, so on and so forth. And I can create these tasks for myself. As a manager, I can delegate these to other people if I need to, or to share the work with a coworker. And I have all the tools available to me to manage this list. I can view other people's list. If I want to know how much work Sally has, I can jump over to Sally's list. I see a lot of red, so Sally appears to be a little bit behind. If I go back to my list here, I can now sort and organize this in different ways. So you have a lot of tools to allow you to track things. And this is static. This will always remain down on the bottom. So regardless of what you may be doing through the top 9 tabs, you can always see what's next on your list. And clicking on these things will actually navigate you to that item and give you all the details that you need. And that's really important. Think about it like this. A client calls, front desk answers, and the client needs some information, okay? If that person who answers the phone has access to it, well, great, perhaps the conversation's over. But if they don't, then that kicks off a whole new series of things. I'll call you back when I get the information, Mr. Client. Let me go talk to Bob. Let me find the file. And that's not great customer service, first of all, but that instantly stops any kind of work that person may otherwise be doing, right? But with Office Tools, they could potentially have access to all the information they need. They could tell the client, yes, I can see that we're actively working on your project. You owe us $4,500 and you have a meeting next week with Bob. And all that can be done from the same program with a couple mouse clicks. So let's talk about the tabs a little bit, talk about what they do. First tab here, contact info. Pretty basic, pretty simple. You have custom fields available to you. You have areas where you can set up that this is, in fact, a client, that they are a corporation, or an individual, or an estate, or a trust, whatever the entity type may be. Again, this is accounting and tax focused software, so we cater to those types of things. And there's custom fields, like I said a moment ago, that you can create your own fields and have those on here. We support contact relationships, multiple or alternate contacts, dependents. All of that can be handled from this one tab. Okay, the next tab over is notes. Pretty simple, don't need to spend a whole lot of time here, but this is a great repository for any kind of detail you want to track for a client. And it's one of those things where if you're entering note details in, say, Outlook under the client, that is not an effective way of tracking notes. First of all, there's not enough room. You can't organize it. Other people can't really add to it because it might be just in your contacts in Outlook. This gives everybody access to every note that anybody would have tracked for this client, which is hugely valuable. It's a simple area of the program, but let me tell you, you get on the phone with the client and you need to know what's going on with them. This can be a great place to put you in touch with their details. The next tab over is to-dos. This is a simple yet very, very powerful area where you can come into the Office Tools and very, very quickly create a new task, choose the person it's going to go to. All the information defaults for you based on who you have selected over on the far left. And let's just do make copies of return. It's as simple as that. I can assign it to myself. I can choose somebody else in the office if I need to, and then push that out to them. All right, it'll show up on their list on the bottom as a reminder, as a task. We can see it right down here on the bottom. I have it highlighted. And now they can go about doing whatever the job may be. When they're done, they check it off of their list, get rid of it, and Office Tools will then present them with a time card. So if you're tracking time or you want to track time or you hate tracking time because it slows everything down, this is a great opportunity to do so. And many things in Office Tools are going to be defaulted. They're going to be pre-populated for you based on how you've configured the system. So for example, this particular time card is completely filled out for me. The only thing I have to do is put in how much time I actually want to track, which in this case, I'll simply put an hour and say, okay, that's it, I'm done. The to-do gets updated, it gets saved under the client. Okay, right here. It is no longer on my list, so I've cleared one more thing off my schedule for the day. I've tracked my time for it, and I can move on. And that theme follows Office Tools through the whole, through all of the different processes. That we enter some information, we assign or delegate it if needed, those notifications go out to the appropriate parties, and when the work's done, if we track time, the opportunity presents itself, and we move on to the next task, all from the same system. All right, calls and schedule, again, very simple areas of the program, but very convenient. Calls work just like to-dos and allow you to have a running history, a log of either calls that need to be returned, so we can go ahead and assign those, like you can see down here on the bottom of my activity list, or again, a log of a conversation if you want. Very quick, very easy to create. The schedule gives us a visual representation of that. And if you've used any kind of calendar before, this is going to feel very, very familiar, but it has the added benefits of, again, being integrated within the rest of the application, meaning the documents that I have associated with the client, I can associate those directly to appointments. My time cards or my timers that I want to run for my meetings can automatically get moved over to billing. It's all part of the same program. If you have Outlook, you can integrate this with Outlook. But where this is, again, going to diverge a little bit is Office Tools is designed for the accounting profession. So the tools available on the calendar make more sense for what we do, like viewing multiple calendars at the same time. All right. Marking that a client has actually arrived in the office on the appointment. All of those things can be done right here from the calendar very, very easily and very, very fast. And again, I know I'm going kind of quick, but I want to make sure that we touch a lot of Office tools and give everybody opportunity to see some of its features and functions. But I would recommend, if you need more details, to reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to do a more detailed demo. So that being said, those first kind of 5 areas of Office tools by themselves are a huge value and a large benefit to any office. But the next tab, the projects tab, this is where the magic happens. This is the workflow component for Office tools. And what it allows you to do is create a template of a project, a tax return, for example, where you can define every part of it, when it's due, what it's called, does it roll over, is it a tax year type thing like a tax return, or is it something that happens monthly? You can put budgets and all of these details into this template, and then you simply apply that to the client that you're providing that service for. Your individuals get 1040s and your businesses get their 1120s or whatever it may be. You can have your monthly work. Anything can be a project potentially. And then within that project, you now build your workflow. So this example, for the example we have on the screen here, we have ABC Company's return. Looks like it's an amended one, perhaps. My year's a little off. But work is being done. I can actually see in the top right corner that Joe Demo here is actually doing some research. All right, I can view the checklist for this project and kind of see, oh, we've received all the info. Great, that's good. I can view anything else that might be attached to this through the other areas of the program, perhaps the out of scope work. Obviously, I have due dates that I'm tracking. On the bottom, I can see all the budget, how much time we want to put into it, how much time we've actually put into it, and what are we looking at as far as fees and cost. How are those things lining up? But again, where this really comes into play is if we come down to the activity list, we can actually see, because I'm logged in as Joe Demo, we can see the task that Joe's been assigned. So whether Joe goes to the project or not, he still has received his alert to do something in this context. And when he's done, as we saw a moment ago, he can check this off of his list. The time card pops up, as we saw before. He tracks his time with one keystroke, and then the project moves us to the next step. Right? And the assignment that it's populating up next is based on a workflow that we've created. This is how we do our returns. And it's customizable, and it's going to work through that logical workflow in the way that you've designed it, and then assign it to the next person, which in this case happens to be Sally. So I say, okay, and I'm done. The project updates itself. The budget updates itself. All of those details are now visible to anybody working on it. It is no longer on Joe's list. He's done. He can move on to the next thing. And as far as Sally's concerned, she's sitting at her desk. She just had a new thing pop up, so she can poke in and see that now she has to review a return. And the process would continue for her. She'd capture her time, assign it to the next person. And when this project's completely done, it gets marked complete and will recreate itself based on how you want it to roll over, whether it's something that happens every year, quarter, month, what have you. And that is so powerful and so easy to use, yet it's also very customizable, all right, and can cover anything from tax returns to bookkeeping and monthly write-up work, payroll, sales tax. It can be administrative projects, client intake projects. Really, the sky's the limit, and this gives you all the tools that you'll need to do those things. The next couple tabs kind of wrap up a little bit about our workflow. So we're tracking things, we're doing things, we're logging stuff. And then the output from that is that perhaps we're also entering and tracking our time. All right, so we have a timesheet where it can be manually entered in. We can use time cards. We can run timers. I can very, very quickly pull up a timer and let that puppy go. When I'm all set, I can post that to my timesheet. If the codes that I'm using and myself as a staff member, if it's billable time, that will transfer over to the next tab here, which is our billing section, based on that client. So if I go to ABC Company on the left and I go to the billing tab, these are all of the invoices that I have for the client. And I can actually toggle between time, unbilled time, invoices, and payment history. So I can see all of the time that I have to bill for this client. Looks like I got to do some billing. All right, but I can select the time, I can bill it, I can make adjustments, do all that great stuff. I can then create an invoice from it. The invoices are completely customizable. You can have your own graphic and letterhead, and it does sync with QuickBooks. We support really all styles of billing. If you're not tracking your time, the value and fixed fee form style invoicing and billing, that's great. We can do reoccurring bills. So for those monthly clients, you can have the system just crank out an invoice every month for a set amount. All right, if you pre-bill, and the list goes on and on. But we can support really every type of billing, every style of billing that may be needed. The last tab is going to be the document management section. And this is great because what we've done here, and a lot of people are a little nervous about this at first because what we've done is we've gotten rid of the folder trees, the folder structure, at least visually. What we've done is we're taking that folder tree, that Windows folder tree that we're all familiar with, and we're actually removing the folder visibility. We want to see documents, not folders. So what we've replaced that with is a really cool way of just narrowing things down. For example, let's say I wanted to see all of the 2014 documents. I can use the drop down, choose 2014, and there we go. I don't have to drill down, and it doesn't matter what subcategory or subfolder it's in. If it's a 2014 document, it's on this list. I can then use the other filters to start to narrow that down. If I want to see anything that's a tax return, I can go skip the year and just go directly to tax returns, and it will show me tax returns for all years, and the list goes on and on. We integrate with Outlook Sync. I mentioned that a little bit ago, and that allows us to actually import emails directly under that client, regardless of who that email was originally sent to. So if you're a manager or whatever your role is, if you have the need to see any email that is being received by anybody from a client, that's a great tool because it doesn't matter whose inbox it's in. It's also saved in OfficeTools. Very cool, very powerful, and automated. So some other things that we do, and that's going to wrap up kind of the general kind of layout within OfficeTools. And I'll do some Q&A here in just a moment for anybody who might have a question. We obviously integrate with a lot of applications. That includes Lacert, QuickBooks, Outlook. We have Microsoft add-ins for the other Microsoft Office products, Adobe. We have print drivers. OfficeTools does have a client portal. So you can send and receive documents online directly from within OfficeTools securely. And your client will have, you'll have that web presence that your client can then log into and send things to you. Again, all integrated, all built into the same application. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open up for Q&A. There is a questions area located in your GoToWebinar panel. If you have any questions, this is a great time to ask. I'll just let the clock run out for the next couple minutes to talk about some other things while some questions appear. So one thing that happens with OfficeTools, especially at the beginning, is people will come into the program with a very specific goal in mind. They're looking for workflow. They're looking for better billing solutions. They need a way of tracking appointments. And they learn very quickly that the program does so much more than that. So we have a professional services team, a training department that will guide you and help you through that journey. We'll listen to you about what your needs are. What are you trying to accomplish? And we'll consult with you. One thing that we don't do is just tell you what button to push. I know that's what a lot of people are looking for every now and then. They want to know what button does the thing, right? However, we've taken a little bit further because we realize that sometimes the thing that we do in order to get to a goal may not be the best. We know the goal, but sometimes we can tweak our processes a little bit and actually get there sooner, get there more effectively, efficiently. So we love the consulting part where we can discuss with you what you're really trying to accomplish and show you how OfficeTools can help elevate that to the next level. Okay, so we full support, all that's taken care of. We'll do training. Obviously, technical stuff is all free and included. It's part of the application. The integrations are fantastic. They work on an automated level. So as you update information in OfficeTools, for example, it will push that information directly into Lacert. It'll push that information directly into QuickBooks, whatever system you may be using. We have an Excel import tool. So regardless of where your contact data may lie, you can bring that right into OfficeTools. Makes it very quick. And again, our training consultants are available to assist you in that. Okay, we're running on the clock. I don't have any questions from anybody showing up. So I just want to thank everybody very, very much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me and talk about Office Tools. If you have any more questions, please visit abacusnext.com or officetools.com for some more information, videos, just more details about the product and its value. If you would like a one-on-one personal demonstration, you can sign up for that basically on the website or just give us a call. And we'll be more than happy to take some of our experts, sit down with you and go through it in more detail and really dive into what kind of solution works best for you. So again, I want to thank everybody so much for joining me today. You will receive a recording of this webinar for reference if you need. And take care. Thank you all very much.